March 2nd, 2026, 1417, local time, the Central Persian Gulf. For the first time in the Gulf confrontation, Iran isn't attacking a single ship. They're attacking a formation. 3 American warships, the destroyer USS Wayne E. Meyer, the cruiser USS Antietam, and the frigate USS Constellation, are operating together in a surface action group. They're escorting a convoy of oil tankers through the most dangerous waters in the world. At 1417, Iran launches a coordinated salvo attack, 8 missiles from 4 separate batteries, targeting all 3 American warships simultaneously. I'm your host at U.S. Defense Review, where we analyze the military operations that shape global security. The May 24th engagement was the largest coordinated Iranian attack of the entire Gulf confrontation. 8 missiles, 4 launchers, 3 targets. The Iranians were trying something they'd never attempted before: overwhelming a formation rather than picking off isolated ships. 1 American vessel, the frigate Constellation, was disabled, but 24 minutes later, all 4 Iranian batteries would be destroyed, along with the command infrastructure that had coordinated the attack. This is what happens when you attack the fleet. Let's understand the Iranian plan. Previous attacks had targeted single ships, destroyers or cruisers operating alone or at the edge of formations. The attacks had achieved hits, killed Americans, damaged vessels. But the response had always been devastating. Single launchers firing single missiles were being traded for entire facilities being destroyed. The Iranian planners decided to change the equation. Instead of attacking 1 ship and losing 1 battery, they would attack multiple ships and accept the loss of multiple batteries. The logic was simple. If each battery achieved 1 hit, 4 batteries might disable 4 ships. The damage to the American fleet would be worth the cost to Iranian coastal defense. The plan required coordination that previous attacks hadn't achieved. At 1415, 4 Nor missile batteries along the Iranian coast received simultaneous launch orders. Each battery fired 2 missiles. Total salvo, 8 weapons. The targets were distributed: 3 missiles toward the Meyer, 3 toward the Antietam, 2 toward the Constellation. The missiles launched within a 12-second window, close enough to arrive at the formation nearly simultaneously, overwhelming the defensive systems that would have to engage multiple threats at once. At 1417-14, the Surface Action Group's radar detected the incoming salvo. 8 contacts, multiple bearings, all hostile. Captain Jennifer Morrison, commanding the formation from the Antietam, had approximately 90 seconds to coordinate defense against the largest attack any American surface group had faced since World War II. All ships Antietam, weapons free on all inbound contacts. Meyer, engage bearings 045 through 060. Antietam engaging 060 through 075. Constellation, engage 075 through 090. Execute. The 3 ships' Aegis systems began coordinating. Data links connected their fire control computers, allowing them to divide targets and avoid wasting interceptors on the same missiles. At 1417-22, the first SM-2 missiles launched. Then more. 12 interceptors in the first 15 seconds, followed by 8 more as the engagement developed. 20 interceptors against 8 targets. The math favored the defenders. At 1418-41, the first intercepts occurred. The Meyer's SM-2S destroyed 2 of the 3 missiles targeting her. Clean kills. The 3rd missile was damaged by fragmentation, but continued flying. The Antietam's intercepts were equally successful. 2 of 3 missiles destroyed, the 3rd damaged. The Constellation's engagement was less successful. The frigate was a newer vessel, a Constellation-class ship designed to replace the aging Oliver Hazard Perry frigates. Her combat systems were capable, but less sophisticated than the Aegis destroyers and cruisers. Her SM-2 variant, the SM-2 Block 3B, had less range and less capability than the Block 4s carried by her consorts. Her engagement window was shorter, 1 missile destroyed, 1 missile damaged, but the damaged missile, its guidance partially functional, was still tracking. At 1418-54, 2 damaged missiles and 1 partially guided missile were still approaching the formation. The Phalanx C IWS on all 3 ships engaged. The Myers Phalanx shredded the damaged Nor approaching her. Debris splashed into the sea 300 meters from the ship. The Antietam's Phalanx destroyed its target as well. Another debris field. Another near miss. The Constellation's Phalanx engaged the remaining threat, the partially guided missile that was still tracking. At 14:19:03, the Phalanx opened fire. The 20mm rounds reached toward the incoming Nor. The missile was maneuvering, its damaged guidance making terminal adjustments. The Phalanx's tracking algorithms struggled with the erratic flight path. Some rounds connected. The Nor began breaking apart. At 14:19:11, the remains of the Nor struck the USS Constellation. The impact point was the starboard side, amidships, at the waterline. The warhead, partially disrupted by the Phalanx fire, detonated on contact. The explosion opened a hole 4 meters wide in the frigate's hull. Water began rushing in. The ship immediately began listing to starboard. 3 sailors were killed by the impact. Hull Technician 2nd Class Michael Rodriguez, 29. He was in the compartment directly behind the impact point. Damage Controlman 3rd Class Jennifer Park, 24. She was responding to the general quarters alarm when the missile hit. Fireman David Chen, 21. He was knocked overboard by the explosion and drowned before rescue could reach him. The Constellation was in trouble. The flooding was rapid. The list reached 8 degrees within 2 minutes. The ship's speed dropped as the drag from the breach slowed her. But she wasn't sinking. Not yet. Her damage control teams were responding. Pumps were engaging. The situation was serious, but potentially survivable. Captain Morrison on the Antietam assessed the situation rapidly. 3 of her ships had been attacked. 1 was damaged. 8 missiles had been fired. All 4 launching batteries had revealed their positions. This was an opportunity. At 14:21, Morrison transmitted formation wide. All ships, this is Antietam. Constellation is hit. Status uncertain. Meyer and Antietam will provide defensive coverage. All ships initiate counter-battery fire against designated launch sites. Launch immediately. The response was coordinated and devastating. The Meyer launched 6 Tomahawks at 14:22:14. Targets, the 2 batteries that had targeted her. The Antietam launched 8 Tomahawks at 14:22:31. Targets, the 2 batteries that had targeted her. The Constellation, damaged, listing, taking on water, launched 4 Tomahawks at 14:23:18. Her captain, Commander David Thompson, had ordered the launch from the damage control station, where he was coordinating the fight to save his ship. "If we're going down," he said to his weapons officer, "we're taking them with us." The Constellation wasn't going down, but her captain didn't know that yet. 18 Tomahawks from 3 ships. All 4 Iranian batteries targeted. Morrison then transmitted to 5th Fleet. 5th Fleet, Antietam. Surface Action Group engaged by coordinated missile salvo. Constellation hit. 3 KIA. Status critical. Have initiated counter-battery fire from all ships. Request expanded strike on coordination infrastructure. Vice Admiral Richardson received the message at 14:25. The coordinated attack was unprecedented. 4 batteries, 8 missiles, 3 targets. This wasn't random harassment. This was a planned operation. Planned operations have planning facilities. They have command centers. They have communications nodes. Richardson authorized strikes on all of them. At 14:28, he expanded the target package. The 4 launching batteries, already targeted, the IRGC Coastal Defense Headquarters at Bandar Abbas, the communications relay that had coordinated the salvo timing, the regional ammunition depot that had supplied the batteries. 7 targets total. Comprehensive elimination of the network that had attacked the Surface Action Group. Additional assets joined the strike. The destroyer, USS Preble, launched 8 Tomahawks at 14:31. Target, the Coastal Defense Headquarters. 4FA, 18F. Super Hornets from the USS Enterprise diverted from patrol at 14:33. Their target, the ammunition depot. At 14:41, 24 minutes after the attack began, the first American weapons arrived. The 4 launching batteries were hit first by the Surface Action Group's own missiles. Battery Alpha, the northernmost position, received 4 Tomahawks from the Mire. The launcher trucks were destroyed. The reload vehicles were destroyed. The crews were killed. Battery Bravo, adjacent to Alpha, received 4 more from the Mire and 2 from the Antietam. Same result. Complete destruction. Battery Charlie, the southern position, received 4 Tomahawks from the Antietam. Destroyed. Battery Delta, the easternmost battery, received 4 Tomahawks from the Constellation. The damaged frigate's missiles found their targets. The battery that had nearly sunk her was eliminated. 4 batteries, 0 survivors. At 1447, the Prebble's missiles arrived at the Coastal Defense Headquarters. This facility had coordinated the attack, issuing the simultaneous launch orders, providing targeting data, orchestrating the salvo timing. 8 Tomahawks struck the compound. The above-ground structures collapsed. The communications center was obliterated. The officers who had planned the attack died with their equipment. At 1452, the Super Hornets arrived at the ammunition depot. 16 GBU 31 JDAMS 2,000-pound bombs struck the storage facility. Secondary explosions confirmed large quantities of missiles and ammunition. The depot that had supplied the 4 batteries, and that would have supplied their replacements, was reduced to craters. At 1456, Tomahawks struck the communications relay. The node that had synchronized the attack timing was destroyed. At 1501, the strike was complete. Total damage assessment: 4 missile batteries, destroyed. Coastal Defense Headquarters, destroyed. Ammunition depot, destroyed. Communications relay, destroyed. Estimated Iranian casualties: 180 to 220 personnel. Estimated missile inventory: destroyed, 50 to 70 NORS. Coastal Defense Command capability in the Central Gulf: eliminated. The coordinated attack had achieved 1 hit on 3 ships. The response had destroyed the entire command structure responsible. The USS Constellation, meanwhile, had stabilized. Her damage control teams had performed exceptionally. The flooding was contained within 20 minutes of impact. The list was reduced to 4 degrees through counter-flooding. The ship was hurt, but she wasn't dying. Commander Thompson received confirmation at 1515. His ship would survive. She would need months of repair, but she would sail again. The 3 sailors who died, Rodriguez, Park, and Chen, were the only American casualties of the engagement. Their sacrifice had helped save the ship and enable the counterstrike that destroyed the Iranian network. The Constellation limped to Bahrain, escorted by the Mire and Antietam. Her transit took 18 hours at reduced speed. Her crew worked continuously, shoring damage and nursing wounded systems. Captain Morrison received the Legion of Merit for her coordination of the Surface Action Group's defense and response. Her immediate order for all ships to launch counterstrikes had ensured the attacking batteries were destroyed before they could celebrate. The May 24th engagement demonstrated several lessons. First, coordinated attacks could be defeated by coordinated defense. The Surface Action Group's interlocking Aegis systems. Second, even damaged ships could strike back. The Constellation launched missiles while fighting floods. Her weapons reached the enemy before her damage control situation was resolved. Third, attacking a formation brought more response, not less. 1 ship might launch 4 to 8 Tomahawks. 3 ships launched 18, plus expanded strikes from 5th Fleet assets. The exchange rate was catastrophic for Iran. They had fired 8 missiles, hit 1 ship, killed 3 Americans. In response, they lost 4 batteries, their regional headquarters, their ammunition depot, and their communications infrastructure. Attacking the fleet didn't change the equation. It made it worse. 24 minutes from coordinated attack to comprehensive destruction of the attacking network. That's what happens when you come for the formation. Stay informed, stay vigilant. I'll see you in the next one.